The day chair is Shaun Irwin. Oh, who will introduce our speaker, Shaun Irwin. So usually in the day chair portion, they'll talk, folks will introduce, what they do. Sometimes the day chair bio is very long, by the way. You might want to cut those down a little bit. But I will tell you the most common question that I get asked now, and I'm not sure how to take it, is, are you retired yet? Do you still work? So it's a sign of either, I don't know, maybe a couple things. Maybe I've reached a certain age that people think I should be retired, or I seem to not work. I like to think that I do it seamlessly and I make it look easy. That's how I like to think of it. I do work. I work for USI Insurance. I sold the Anderson agency that I owned for 20 years, 6 years ago. And now I work for one of the largest brokers in the entire country. And it is mind-boggling, I have to tell you, to go from working, our agency had a little less than 30 people, and now I work for an organization that has over 10,000 employees and over 200 offices around the country. And I am sometimes, there's good and bad. I mean, the resources, the training for the young people. We hire 300 college graduates a year. If anybody has a college graduate that wants to learn about insurance and finance and all the wonderful jobs that are in insurance, you let me know. I'll be happy to refer them into the organization. Some of that's just fascinating. And then some of the corporate stuff that you can imagine might make me bristle a little bit. It does make me bristle a little bit because I just can't comprehend why make it so complicated. Yeah, right. So I do work. I run a team that we save people's lives. And I explain it in that way. See, my badge says property and casualty insurance. So I do that. I'm so grateful for people in this group that have supported our business and I've been able to help. But really, when it comes right down to it, you're making people promises and you have to show up. You have to help them in some of the worst possible times, the worst possible times. So that's what I do. So that's my day chair speech. Now, let me introduce the president of the Minneapolis State Lakes Rotary Club. We're so happy that he has decided to go ahead and embark on this journey. And it's all Carol Russell's fault, by the way. Russell came to me and said, would you consider this? And I don't know, okay. So I said yes, and I'm very excited because our group does phenomenal things. First up, I will tell you why I came to Rotary very consistently, and I think this bears repeating, and is a very important message, that vocations and Rotary are okay to be intertwined. It is okay to talk about your profession here. It is okay to show how your profession can support the community. That is the tenets at the beginning of Rotary, and that's okay. I did not join Rotary for insurance. I joined Rotary because I had a young family. I was very busy. I had just purchased the agency a couple years before. And as you can imagine, I bought a small business that came without a manual. It did not come with any manual. It did not say this is how you're supposed to do this. And I had no idea. So I worked a fair amount. I loved it. I still love it. I don't really know what work-life balance is. It just incorporates into my life. And somebody calls me at 9:30 at night, I answer the phone. If somebody sends me an email at 5:30, I'm probably up and I probably answer it. So it's more blended into my life than anything else. But I grew up with a mom. We did not have many means. My dad was a construction worker. I'm the youngest of 5 children. And my mom was community oriented and said, you kids are going to do something. Because you're going to drive me nuts if you're in this house. So go outside and play, go do something for somebody else. So go do something for somebody else. It's something that we all heard. My older siblings were involved in the Walk for Mankind. They were involved in community organizations. If there was a parade, we were in it, you know, all that stuff. I grew up in a town, I'm from New Jersey, grew up in a town very similar to Maple Grove. It was close to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but it was a farming community that they plowed over to build houses on, just like Maple Grove. So about 13 miles from Philadelphia. Now, of course, it's a suburb of Philadelphia, and it's all kinds of people and massive and all that, but much more traffic on the East Coast than here, I will tell you that. But it was a starter community, so everybody was new to the community. You got to meet people that also were looking for things to do, to be involved, to do that. So we did it. My mom is a joiner. My mom involved us. We involved ourselves in it. So our entire lives, we have been counseled and modeled to be involved. So now I've got this business. It's kind of doing okay, although I wasn't really sure because I'm not an accountant, so I wasn't sure how it was doing entirely. But it's doing good. But I needed that community involvement. I needed somewhere to give. You'll hear me say this and probably understand it already, since I've already exposed myself as not being the most organized person in the world. I knew that I couldn't go organize fundraising. I knew that I couldn't do it. I knew that I couldn't organize a community event. I knew that I wouldn't get around to it. So that is why I joined Rotary, for community involvement. Harrison Nelson was a great member of our group. He introduced me to Rotary and said, "Man, you'd make a great Rotarian." I said, "Well, when do they meet?" 7 o'clock. And I said, "Okay, I'll come. So I went and joined. It has been so wonderful for our family. I explain that. I hear young people come now to our meetings and say, "Well, I can't do it. I have young kids." Well, I will tell you that I'm a living testament that my children, they are wonderful adults. And part of why they're wonderful adults is because I was in them. Because they would have been derelict had I been the one to organize all these events. Instead, what did they do? I modeled that how my mom modeled it for us. So it was one of those things that I'm so grateful for that. Both of our children have done study abroad. They've done mission work. They've done any myriad of things that really, Rotary was the genesis for those things that they were to do with us, because that's what Rotarians are. So our group is going to grow this year. That was Sharon's message, and that would be my message too. But we're going to grow this year. We look for people that are doers, right? People come with different skills. They come with different personalities. But ultimately at their core, they're people that want to do something positive in our community. And that's going to be the main focus. We're going to vision more from a vocational standpoint, how we incorporate helping people use Rotary in their businesses and how we talk about that, because I'm completely on board with that. It's okay to have a job. See, Todd says he's thrilled his son has a job. So I will tell you, I have a child, a musician child, who just graduated from NYU with a master's in songwriting. It is more difficult to figure out how to find him a job than to get something. Well, I'm sure has something more practical. But if you have anywhere he can crash in Nashville, he's going to move to Nashville next month. And I will tell you though, I won't ask Todd, we'll put him on the spot, because he said he's off the payroll. My question for people, because I get that all the time, my kids are moving out, or you know, I'm going to take them off the car insurance. How do I do that? And they're so happy they're off the payroll. Who pays this cell phone bill? then technically he's not on the payroll. Who's that plan? Oh, I know the rationalization. It's a family plan. It's cheaper. I get all the rationalization. So we have a very, very robust international service committee. And I just want to ask, but I don't know this, but I do want to ask, who plans on taking it Rotary International Service? Anybody gonna go out of country this year on international service? Jim, you committed, you raised your hand. Okay, Bill is definitely, would anybody like to know more about going on an international service project for Rotary? There you go, we got Oscar, we got Shaun, who is a new member here, already looking about that. We got Steve Morris, you were kind of halfway there. I want to maybe, Greg would like to, okay. So we have one person right now who's already committed to doing a Rotary International project, traveling abroad. Talk with Bill if you want to learn more about it, and he'll help you.
Get a trip to Honduras.
Honduras. And will it be in the winter in Minnesota? That's what most people want to know, because that might be a yes, if it's in winter in Minnesota. So our community service, so who wants to go to a happy hour soon?
Yeah.
Club,
Mark them up until 10, we gotta wait a little bit.
club service, we have an incredible club service. Again, now, Wednesdays are for Rotary. We're gonna meet with consistency more often. This year, we're gonna do it 3, and then the final Wednesday will be for a service project or for happy hour. Wednesday will be for Rotary. We're going to Rojas on July the 31st. Funny, Todd, I couldn't remember where happy hour was. So, and I am looking forward to that. In the interest of full disclosure, it is a bit of a chuckle. I'm so enamored with happy hour because I do not drink alcohol. I was so good at it that I reached my lifetime quota when I was only 28 years old. But you will find me on most happy hours. I'm so fortunate that I love a good party. So if there's a party involved, I'll mostly mark that on my calendar. Something else that sounds like a corporate thing might not make it. So we're really, really doing great in that regard. Community service, we have project after project. Anyone, raise your hand if you've been involved in a community service project for our Minneapolis City Lakes programs. Okay. Who would like to be involved in a project this year, Minneapolis City Lakes Rotary? Joyce, you don't want to be involved in any community service.
How do you know this?
Because you're a model for me. You know, this modeling is outstanding. You know, we bring positive energy to all that we do. And in that way, we serve. For our committees that are doing this great work, please reach out to someone else and say, you know what, we just need 5 more people to get over the top. We talked already about Rotary and a stick. You saw how many people are going? If you're on the fence, go. It'll be goofy. It'll be fun. It'll be, as part of it, so everybody does know this, there's going to be like a mini little community service project while you're there. When you register, it asks what hour and a half, I think it is, that you can volunteer while you're there. So it'll be a great event. It'll be really fun. And I am not a state fair person generally. My loving bride, I'm not in Minnesota, I just told you. My loving bride likes to go, and I remember going with her when we were dating, and I was like, well, aren't we gonna go on the rides and play the games? She said, well, no, I don't go over there. I was like, well, what are we here for? You gotta go to Machine Hill, you gotta go to the farm barn, she's a girl on the dairy farm, well, it smells in there. What do we want to do, like a tilt-a-whirl? So, and we're still married. But so I'm usually like go once every 3 years, and it depends on who the musical entertainment is that night, on whether I go to the state fair or not. So, but I have to say, I'm very much looking forward to Rotary on the Stick. We're also gonna have a 40th anniversary party, and that's gonna be in the spring. It's gonna be fantastic. Our club will celebrate its 40th anniversary, and that's a way to celebrate all the good work that we do and the fellowship that we have together. As part of, we don't have it dialed in yet, but we are pointing at the fall to do another Rotary on Tap event. It was phenomenal. Rotary on Tap, I have to give Maria, Sid, she's not here this morning, but their work on that, if I'm forgetting somebody, I apologize. But their work on that Rotary on Tap, right? Brian, but, well, I mean, Brian stood at the front of the room, I could do that. True. And he had those great jokes. No, thank you so much. So we will have another event like that as we build towards membership. I will say, for those of you that were there, you know it was phenomenal. For those of you that weren't able to make it, you definitely want to come, and you definitely want to bring people along. It was a stellar event that not only increased the visibility of our Rotary group specifically, but more broadly Rotary, right? Like Sharon talked about, people still don't know what Rotary does. There's over 1 million Rotarians in the world. Darn near eradicated polio, and we're going to eradicate polio as an organization around the world. I mean, people should be celebrating Rotary a lot more than they get a chance to. So we're just doing wonderful things. So excited about this year coming up. If you need something, I'm really good at lunch. Really good at happy hours. So, and I don't know, and I think somebody even talked about it few presentations ago, but there's a book called Never Eat Alone. It's Keith Ferrazzi. So and probably part of why I didn't think of joining Rotary for networking is because I'm me, and I'm not really, I don't have friction in my life with networking. I love networking. So I read it, and I gave that book to another guy in my office who is not at all a networker, not at all. So I said, Mark, how'd you like that book? I was so excited to talk to him about the book. He says, oh, it's about you. Of course you like it. I didn't think of it that way. Well, you might have a point. So please reach out. Please make sure we keep things positive for this upcoming year, and we'll make great things happen in the community. And look at that. If anyone has any questions about or what they'd like to see, I'm here for suggestions, anything. Anyone have any questions about a project that you'd like to start, or any questions about where we'll go off the rails? Any of that questions, I'm ready for. So, yes, Anna. One of the most curious people in the room. I love it.
So I'm very excited to have you as president, and my big question is, like, what is your personal goals for you as a president for this club, and how can we help you? Do you have anything specific you want to accomplish in this year?
I will say support and support and support some more. I will tell you one other thing that Rotary inspired me to do. Be inspired, okay? And I've told this before a little bit, but I will tell you how Rotary made me personally think bigger. So there's a golf tournament called the Take My Charity Pro-Am. It's not important, but it's a bit. But we had a family come to us and say, could you help us find a presenting sponsor for this event that's already been going on for a long time, but they needed a new presenting sponsor. And we went to an insurance company and asked them to be the presenting sponsor. I set the meeting up and networking, heard into this insurance company. And we sat down with the insurance company and we were asking this billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar corporation to be a presenting sponsor, right? It's just a little bit of money for that, right? That's how that goes. We asked them, they came back, very nice meeting. They came back a couple weeks later and they said, you know, we really appreciate it, but we are starting our own national, I just Chuck, I don't mind saying who it is, completely professional. We are starting the Child Charity Challenge. It's going to be a nationwide event and we have to focus our resources on that. And they did it, by the way, and it's also a great fundraising thing. It's a great event. They do a really good job. Child Charity Challenge. Okay, come back, put the folder on my desk. And my desk, by the way, this is like free file folders. Russ says he has file folder for all his emails. I don't have that. But anyway, if I did, it would have been, but it was not in a file folder, it was on my desk. And I just picked it up like every couple of days. I pick it up and I read it. And at the time I had a 30% shareholder, his name was David. And like a week and a half later, I called David. I said, David, what about if we became the presenting sponsor? And what do you think he said? Anybody have any guess? He panicked. Anybody else have a guess? You are out of your mind, is what he said. He said, we just asked a multi-billion-dollar corporation to be a presenting sponsor. Do you know, Shaun, that we have 21 employees? Do you know the scale difference in size? Very thoughtful guy, this David. Darn it! Doesn't go with his, he's more Rust-like, the one with his head. Smart. What David did not know, he sort of know peripherally. So the Take My Charity Pro-Am benefits people with developmental disabilities and their families. I have been invited to be on the board of a place called Southside Services. So Southside Services in South Minneapolis. And at the time I was a young guy, I was like, what do you want with me on the board? They said, you're just so, you're so enthusiastic. So, okay, I'll do it. And I met a man. I did not even know this. I met a man that had been put in an institution because he was developmentally disabled at 8 years old. Teddy Zimmer. And then what did they do 35 years later? They closed Sparrow Ball and they set him loose in the world. Anybody know how that all works? I did not know that. I didn't know that the doctor used to say, put him in this institution, and then 35 years later, they figured out what a disaster it was, and they closed him and said, good luck. Good luck, what do you mean, good luck? So that's what Southside Services supported, these kind of folks. Well, this is Sandy Foss, she didn't like that. So people with developmental disabilities were supposed to go in this crappy school with crappy, basically housing people that didn't know any better. And I thought, well, this is incredible that they've done this work. So we involved ourselves and we became the presenting sponsor of the Take My Charity Pro-Am. And we still are. Cindy and I still are. We sold the company first, but we still are major sponsors of the Take My Charity Pro-Am. That happened while I was in this club. I don't talk about it a lot, but without this club, I don't have that. I don't have the confidence. I don't have the understanding that we can give more than we believe, a lot more than we believe. I guarantee you, you will never give away your financial security because something will hold you back from doing it. Don't be afraid to give more. whether that's give more money or give more time. Don't be afraid. So that, for me, what I'd like to do this year is to inspire each other to give more. I will tell you one specific way that I want us to do that. Keith Johnson and I are on the Bequest Society for Rotary International. I would like to see people in this group do some planning and make our Rotary financial part of their future financial plan, to leave us in their will. Cindy and I have already done it. It's something that we've done. Why haven't we done it in our club? Just because nobody's asked. I mean, we did, only because I said, well, we're doing it, doing the bill, why wouldn't we include our club in that? But the Rotary International has a Bequest Society. There's no reason why we can't also do that internally and have our own foundation benefit from people giving us a no-go. So that is something very specific I would like us to do. And other than that, I really just want people to be inspired. So, any other questions? Yes, Keith.
I forgot to mention one person there helped me. I just wanted to mention somebody else who I did business with here. I'm looking at him in Grandview. He dressed me for 20
It was Gallup, but
That the Bus Society, it's paintings. Yeah, you don't even know what's there.
well, as Russ said, it's very famous because you did. So, King does not like me to say the small and Russ like this, but King also did close for me for many, many years. But I was one of King's customers that he didn't get as much joy from because I weighed the same exact amount as when I graduated high school. So he likes a customer that yo-yos a little more. He won't say it out loud, but it's true. It's true. You like a yo-yo customer.
Like to turn the tape.
Yeah. You think, oh, you're gonna need new shoes, a little tight. So anyway, well, again, thank you so much, everybody. We'll have a great year and